Our tech bench at Calibre Computer Solutions always has at least one computer, usually more on it, that's been infected with some type of virus or malware. Nasty infections requiring specific removal tools and processes have increased dramatically over the past year. The number one question I'm asked is, how did this get on my computer? I have antivirus protection. Well, today I would like to dispel 5 common myths that most computer owners believe about viruses and spyware. If you learn these, make the recommended changes, and the risk of infection on your computer will be greatly reduced. Myth number 1. If I have an antivirus program, my computer is safe. Well, unfortunately, this isn't entirely true. Having a good antivirus program, such as our recommended Managed Viper antivirus, is an important step in the right direction. However, malware creators work really hard to sidestep the common protection programs, either by exploiting newly discovered security holes before they're patched, or by using what's called social engineering to trick users into opening infected files directly. Now, while there's no guarantee of total safety, experts recommend a combination of the following for reasonable protection. First off, you want professional antivirus software, not the free AVG or Microsoft Security Essentials. You need professional antivirus software. Secondly, you want to perform regular software updates on your operating system, whether it's the Windows operating system or the Mac OS X, as well as for Java, Adobe products like Adobe Flash and Adobe Reader, as well as all of your internet browsers. Third, user education. For example, if you don't recognize the sender, don't open the attachment. You also want to have some type of perimeter defense. This is a firewall, which if you're using a router, most likely you have the hardware firewall built in. Also, hosted spam filtering, DNS protection. And then you also want to have regular automated backups. Myth number 2. If I use a Mac, I don't have to worry about viruses. Once upon a time, this was mostly true. When Macs were just a tiny slice of the overall computer market, it just wasn't worth the malware writer's time to learn how to infect Apple's computers. But with the growing popularity of the Apple Mac comes a growing interest from online criminals. In 2012, over 600,000 Mac computers were infected with the flashback malware infection. And security maker Sophos currently tracks over 4,500 Mac-specific viruses and malware currently in use around the world. Now, like PC users, the time has come for Mac users to add antivirus software and to make sure that they're being diligent with software updates and backups. For example, this past week I also had a client call me who uses a Mac complaining of a malware infection. And it finally took some specific antivirus programs to help get rid of that. Myth number 3. My mobile devices can't get infected. Also not true. As of 2012, the fastest growing segment of both malware quantity and malware profitability for the criminals creating these things is the smartphone and the tablet market, and more specifically, Android-based devices. iPhones and iPads are still largely malware-free, although a June 2012 article in Forbes magazine titled "There is too malware on the iPhone" makes the point that iDevice users should not assume that they're completely invulnerable. With the rise in Android malware, it's important to install protection software on your mobile phone or your tablet if it's an Android device. I recommend using the Viper Mobile Security. Myth number 4. No one would be interested in hacking into my computers. Really? I hear this a lot, often from people who have a reasonably powerful computer and they have a high-speed internet connection. That's really all the criminals need. With that computer infected and under the control of a malware-enabled criminal botnet, it can be used to send thousands of spam messages per day. It can also be used to attack other computers on the internet, or control other infected computers so that authorities can't easily trace the real controller's point of origin. They can also watch every keystroke you enter into your computer, looking for patterns that might be credit card numbers, social security numbers, bank accounts, and passwords. Once they gather this information, they can bundle it all together and sell it online on the black market. Since the entire process is automated, it's common for thousands and even hundreds of thousands of infected computers to be under the control of just a handful of people. The takeaway here is, no matter how unimportant you think your computer might be, you should still take precautions to protect yourself and others. Myth number 5. If I do get infected, it just means I'll get some error messages or pop-up ads. Well, unfortunately, this is also wrong. As I mentioned before, malware is a serious money-making business for the creators. We already talked about some of the ways that they can make money. They can hijack your computer to send spam. They can capture your credit card information. In those cases, people generally have no idea that their computer is infected until they notice problems on their credit report. A more aggressive version of malware is becoming more common though. Imagine this scenario. You turn on your computer one day, and instead of getting the normal startup screen, you get a message that's saying your computer's files are encrypted, and the only way to get them back is to wire $300 or more to the hackers. After they receive the money, they'll give you a password so that you can get all of your data back. Well, they're more likely just to demand more money and not release your files. These are increasingly common strategies that these online criminals are using to make money. So to fight back, use these 3 tips. Number 1, use strong protection, such as our managed Viper antivirus. Number 2, back up your important files, Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, pictures, music. Back all of those things up regularly, daily. Finally, use strong passwords and change them often. You also want to make sure that any hosted email accounts that you have, such as Gmail, Hotmail, or Yahoo, include a second authentication method, such as a cell phone number or an alternate email address. Usually with this in place, whenever a password is changed or somebody else tries to access your account, you'll be notified, and you can immediately contact the service provider if you weren't the one who changed it. If you take these precautions in protecting your computer system and avoid the 5 myths that we talked about, the chances of your computer system getting hacked or getting infected with viruses is greatly reduced. For more helpful computer tips and information, visit calibreforhome.com. Also, please share this video with your friends and family.